this is Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching MrBoxing Today on YouTube.
Mr. Boxing Today here. I got the one and only BloodBoxing from the YouTube boxing community. Today's topic, we just talking about the heavyweights. Blood, you can go in, man. You can talk about today's heavyweights, the 90s, the 80s, just heavyweights, man. That's the topic of the video. You go ahead and kick it off, man.
Well, first of all, I want to say, man, it's good to be on your channel, man.
Thanks,
I've been watching your videos. For anybody who ain't checked out MrBoxing Today, he has a unique style, and it's something different that I had never seen before. When I first saw your vids, man, I was like, damn, this is something different right here. So, thanks, hey, man, big ups, man. I'm glad that you're making vids on here. We're going to talk about the heavyweights now. When we talk about heavyweight history, there's two things that you consider. You consider the legacy and you consider the skill level. Where I'm talking about legacy, you look at Ali and you look at Lewis. To me, those two guys have the most solid legacies. Maybe you could throw Jack Johnson in there. And skill level, Larry Holmes. Maybe Larry Holmes didn't have the most tight legacy, even though he had so many defenses. He had a hell of a lot of defenses, but he might not have had the most solid legacy because of his resume. But skill level wise, I think he could have beat anybody. I think that the most underrated heavyweight, and I always throw this out when I talk to boxing fans about heavyweights, is that Larry Holmes is underrated. I think that Holmes was one of the best heavyweights skill-wise to ever do it, and I think he could have beat any heavyweight from any era, maybe even Ali, because we all know that he used to spar Ali,
right? And
that he learned a lot from Ali, and by the mid-'70s, he was beating Ali to the jab, and I don't know if he could beat the 1965 version of Ali, which it would be good to see, but, dream matchups. When you think of the heavyweights, you think of tons of dream matchups, man. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, and I promise y'all, me and Blood did not talk about this before we went on, but Larry Holmes is, in my opinion, one of the top 3 heavyweights to ever do it. Like you said, man, he sparred over 200 rounds with Ali. He was pretty much an Ali protege. Larry Holmes gets stepped on, man, when it comes to historically. He was sandwiched between 2 great careers, Ali and Tyson. So he gets forgotten. The man was heavyweight champ for 7 straight years. He fought Norton. He fought Shavers. He fought some contenders back then that could be champions right now, man. Larry Holmes, man, the Eastern Assassin, he had longevity. He fought until his 40s. He fought with a gut. And he put Evander Holyfield through hell and high water. Yeah, he beat Ray Mercer.
Yeah.
Larry Holmes was a hell of a fighter, man. Then there's some guys like Rocky Marciano, and I know the old school cats are going to say, to me, man, being 5'9", 185 pounds, what could he have done against Larry Holmes, Ali? And Tyson was considered small, and he was 5'11", 220, 215. And, Marciano, 185. I rate him low. I don't have Marciano in my top 10, man. What about you?
But the thing about it is, I don't have Marciano in my top 10 either. Now, I have a video I actually did on Marciano that's on another boxing page I have that I forgot the password to, called Chronicles Blood, but I did a vid on Larry Holmes and on Rocky Marciano, my bad. And basically what I was saying is that I think he was overrated. By the time he fought guys like Walcott and Lewis, they were really past their primes. But a lot of people are quick to say, oh, you only hating on him because he's a white guy and this and that, and that's not the case, man. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. Today he would be considered more of a cruiserweight, And Joe Louis wasn't the biggest guy either, but I think that as far as legacy is concerned, I think that Joe Louis had a tighter resume. He's been around longer. I think if he had fought Louis in his prime, it would have been a fight. But don't get me wrong. I think Rocky Marciano is one of the all-time greats. I think they shitted Larry Holmes in that Michael Spinks fight because they did not want to see
both fights. And both fights he shitted on.
He won both of those fights.
Yeah.
He won both of them. They didn't want him to get Marciano's record. So Larry Holmes made that famous quote, "He couldn't carry my jockstrap," or something along those lines. You remember that?
Yeah.
And so definitely when it comes to, I think where we're going at is when it comes to being underrated, you have Larry Holmes. When it comes to being overrated, you have Rocky Marciano. I think that even Lennox Lewis is an underrated heavyweight. I think he was better than people want to give him credit for. He had a couple of losses, but he always avenged his losses. The 90s was an interesting era because in the 90s, there was so many heavyweight fights that should have occurred that didn't occur. And you got to admit, there was an all-time high of competition in the 1990s. You had a lot of very good heavyweights who didn't get a chance to fight each other. You had Riddick Bowe thrown in there. There's 3 or 4 people he missed. I think he was a little scared of Lennox Lewis because of what happened in the 1980 Olympics. He never did get a chance to fight Tyson. By the time Tyson and Lewis fought, it was too late. Tyson again didn't get a chance to fight some of the very good contenders at the time, Ray Mercer. There was a lot of very good fighters that didn't get a chance to fight each other. In the 90s was pretty stacked with heavyweights. Holyfield, the only one who fought them all was Evander Holyfield, the real deal.
Okay, so we left off when Larry Holmes finally stepped in the ring with a young, hungry Mike Tyson. My take on that was just like you said, Blood. When Holmes came back from the retirement after losing the Sphinx, if you want to call it a loss, the second fight, I thought he needed to tune up too. But Larry, with the confidence that he has and a former champion, he thought he can beat the young punk Tyson. I don't know if you remember, it was after a Tyson fight, Holmes was interviewed by
Terrell Biggs, yes.
Yeah.
Terrell Biggs, after the Terrell Biggs fight.
Right, and he was saying that, Tyson's a punk and he doesn't respect anybody, he's going to whoop him.
Yep.
And he should have took at least one tune-up fight from Mike, man. But the first 3 rounds, there was one round that when Holmes was just circling Mike and just popping him with the jab, and I was like, man, that's like the old Eastern Assassin right there. But it didn't last. His legs went, his wind went, and Tyson knocked him out. But what was your feeling about him fighting Tyson so quickly, just coming right back out of retirement and fighting him?
I remember I watched the fight with my father, man, and we were like, man, Holmes should take a tune-up fight, and he didn't look like he was in the best shape either. Because, he came in out of shape, and we were like, man, he's in trouble. We knew he was in trouble because at that time Tyson was just running through people, and at that time Tyson was coming in shape back in them days, And, we knew Holmes was in trouble. I was going for Holmes. I wanted Holmes to win the fight because I grew up on Holmes, but Tyson just had too much fun. What can I say? I was a real little kid when I watched that. I remember it like yesterday, man. I remember going to bed and couldn't even sleep because Larry Holmes got knocked out like that. I hated seeing a legend get knocked out.
And I actually read this past summer. I read Larry Holmes' autobiography, and Holmes in the biography was saying that walking to the ring, and it only happened when he walked to the ring. But when he walked to the ring, he said he was thinking in his head, "What the hell am I doing?" He said he was scared. Now this is Holmes saying, it's not me. He said that he was scared when he was making the ring walk. And my thing is like, so in training he wasn't scared, he was confident. And he said when he got in the ring he was confident, but on that ring walk, he said for a minute he was thinking to himself, "Larry, what the hell is you doing? You supposed to be retired. You got a big house. You got businesses in Easton. What the hell is you doing?" So I was, if I would have known that when he was walking, I would have known he would have got knocked out. But that just goes to show the fear Tyson put in people that he doesn't get credit for, man. Tyson had a lot of these cats scared, man. And for Larry to be scared.
Did that old Sonny Liston. Did that Sonny Liston to him now.
And if you make Larry Holmes scared and nervous, man, you must be a bad man, because Larry Holmes wasn't scared of nobody, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And speaking of the fear factor, he won a lot of his fights off fear. Going back to Sonny Liston, that's who he likes to compare himself to a lot. That's what Sonny Liston did. He used the bully mentality. That's something that gets overlooked in boxing a lot, the psychological side of boxing.
Exactly.
Tyson had that psychological edge just in being a bully, just in striking fear in his opponents through his ring entrance, through his his physique and you know, those kind of things scared his opponents, and they were already defeated when they got to the ring. It's like when Sonny Liston was so much bigger than everybody else, he's going in there like a big bully, and most of those guys was defeated before they even got in the ring with him. Poor Cleveland Williams.
Right, and Sonny Liston was a for real street dude. I mean, he worked for the mob. I mean, this dude was a for real street dude that'll slap the shit out you, man. Like in a press conference, he'll raise up and Liston. Foreman was a Liston protege. Foreman used to spar with him and get him ready for fights up until his death. So, yeah, man, that fear factor, Foreman, Sonny Liston, Tyson, that they brought to the ring, it's kind of comical, man, when you sit back and look at it, man, how another grown man could be scared of another grown man when they about to fight. But some guys are scared entering the ring, man, and Tyson did a hell of a job of scaring a lot of people, which I want to touch on another point. Is I always said that I thought Holyfield had Tyson's number, whether they're in their prime, whether they're 60, whether they're 40. I just thought Holyfield is not the type that's going to be scared of nobody. That's just him. And if he does show his fear, he doesn't do a good job.
It's usually the fighters that are not scared that expose these fighters, when they're not scared. It's like when Tyson was first exposed by Buster Douglas. Douglas wasn't scared that night because a lot of people don't realize Douglas had a lot of personal problems outside the ring. Mom just passed away. At that time, this guy's thinking, shit, man, my mom just passed. I got all these problems and stuff. I think he had some other problem going on with his brother or something. By the time he got in that ring, he was like, man, fuck this shit, Yeah. I mean, this man can't hurt me. All I've went through, I'm not scared of this man tonight. He might have been scared the first round or two, but boy, he had a lot of fire in his heart that night. And it's like when Liston fought Ali. Ali was scared to fucking death, but once he got in that ring, though, he shook that shit off, and went in there and brought the fight to Liston. I know he was really scared before the fight because his blood pressure was up, but when that guy finally does get in there that decides they want to fight, then they have a fight that they need to look forward to. We saw Bruce Seldon. How scared was he when he fought Tyson? He didn't look like the same guy. He didn't go in there popping that jab and none of that. He just curled up, So, yeah, the fear factor is a part of boxing. It really is psychological. Having a psychological edge, that's a big part of boxing that gets overlooked, man.
And then Tyson, with the Holyfield and Tyson thing, Holyfield's been had a psychological edge over Tyson way back in the amateurs. I read Evander Holyfield's autobiography, Becoming Holyfield, and in the book, he was talking about when they were at a amateur tournament that Mike and Evander, they're all playing pool with, other fighters.
The pool table incident.
Yeah, the pool table incident. And, Vanner told him, hey, man, you got to wait your turn. Like, stood up to him. And I guess all the other fighters were surprised that it happened. Then they had another incident where they were at the, Olympic trials to try for the Olympics. And Mike didn't make it. He lost to Henry Tillman. But I guess that Mike and Evander got in the ring and had like an unauthorized sparring match. And I guess Evander, according to Evander in his own book, he said he got the best of Mike. So a lot of these guys, man, they go way back to the amateurs, man. So when they get to the pros, they already done fought 3, 4, 5 times and know each other. A lot of public don't know that, right, man. A lot of fans don't know that.
Yep. That gets overlooked a lot. Sure does, man. Yeah, that's very true, man.